Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. Today, we are here with another webinar all about data, all about reports. So welcome. So we can show you how you can explore TalentLMS reports and get the data that matter and measure the training success. And just remember, this is a webinar that at first glance might look like a very advanced one, right? Like aiming to those that have completed their portal, done the training, share the course with the users, and want to see the results. But don't worry, everybody's welcome here. So whether you have already set up your accounts, created content, shared it with the users, and now you want to see the results, this webinar is for you. But also, if you're just getting started, you have just opened up your portal, second day maybe, and then you're planning to create courses, share them with the users, and then see your results, yes, you are also at the right place. So our goal here is to share with you all the ways that you can measure your training success with TalentLMS. And no matter which stage of the account process set and setup you are, you're definitely at the right place to get a good deep dive into the reporting system. So stay with us. Just to get started, my name is Theo. I am part of the customer education team, and my goal is to help you explore how you can get the data that matter. But I'm not here. I have an expert with me.
Hi everyone, I'm Mary, I'm the Customer Education Manager, and today I'm going to help Theo with this presentation and you on how to measure your successful training.
And you will hear from Mary a lot more a little bit later. But now, let's see. What are we going to talk about today? Reports is just a topic. But what we will see is how you can export and share your training results. We'll also see how you can create presentation-ready infographics. And of course, it's all about customizing your portal, customizing your data. So we will see how you can work with custom reports as well. And don't forget, our webinars are live and we want to hear from you. So we will have a Q&A session at the end where Mary, as our expert, will answer your questions live. And if you would like to remember that as well, you can always ask your questions during the session of the webinar. So don't worry just to wait until the end. Use the Q&A button that you can find in the dashboard in the meeting controls. Take a look at it now, and you can use that to ask your questions throughout the webinar. We have a very strong support team behind the scenes with Nick and Irini, who will also answer your questions as we go. And don't forget, you can always answer your questions anonymously, but you know us, we would really love to know your name so we can have a direct conversation with you. And remember one more thing here, the webinar is recorded and you will receive the recording once the webinar is over. Feel free to share it. Feel free to let everybody know who uses TalentLMS how to see data using reports. So let's get right into this. I'm going to start sharing my screen here. And I'm pretty sure that you have seen this view before, right? Even if you have logged in every single day since last year, or even if you just logged in today, as an administrator, that is the default admin view of TalentLMS. And we're going to explore reports from the admin perspective today. Remember, the administrator is the one who can see all of the data in your portal and the one who primarily will manage reports. If you want to follow along or do it later when you rewatch the webinar. Let's go into the reports right there. And the very first thing that we will see is the overview. The overview is a very quick glance of what's happening at your portal right now. You can see a few statistics, the amount of active users, the amount of users that have never logged in, the amount of assigned courses, completed courses, and then you can filter based on a specific amount of time. Today, for example, here, we didn't have a lot of activity here, but yesterday, this week, this month, this year, and if you want, of course, a custom period of time based on your needs. In the reports of TalentLMS, you will see one button right there, the green button that can help you export the reports. If you click on the training progress, or if you click on the green button that you will see in all of the reports in TalentLMS, you can download the report in an Excel format. But also there's another feature which would really save you a lot of time. If you click on the little arrow there, you can schedule the report. And if you click schedule, you can automate the way that the reports will be exported into your email. For example, let's say that I want to receive the training overview in my email every single week on Friday. So you go to schedule, you click on weeks, slide here the option to mark every 1 week, and then of course, pick Friday or any other day, even weekends. So you can click on Friday, for example, click on schedule, and then the report will be sent to the email address that you have declared in your user profile. And that will happen every single Friday. No exceptions, no bank holidays, nothing that would ever disturb that schedule. If you also want to share these reports, absolutely. You can go to custom recipients, and there you have the option to add the email addresses of anybody who you want to share the report with. Think of your stakeholders, of the investors, of directors, the executive board, your supervisors, your colleagues, even anybody. And just add their email addresses here, separate them with a space. If you also want to receive it along with them, add your own email as well. And at the end, click schedule, and then all of those recipients will receive that report. Of course, in their own individual email. So don't worry, nobody will know who else has a report based on who you have added there. You can see how convenient that is, right? You can go on holidays, you can take days off, so you don't really have to manually do this every time. But talking about reports, let's jump right into the first reports. On the right side here, you see that we have lots of different reports to talk about, but what we'll do is start with the user report. The user reports is the place where you can see the high performance, or maybe the ones that need a little bit help. When you get to the user reports, you see first a quick overview. So you have the amount of learners, the course assignments, completed courses, those in progress, and the overall training time as well. And then you can still continue filtering things a little bit more. For example, you have here different columns, right? That has data related to the courses, the completion, and so on. So here you can always just click on the titles, and you see there that you can change the order of things. So now we're looking at the users with the most assigned courses. Or now I'm going to look really for my high performer there. I can click on completed courses, and here we have Blake being the highest performer. Let's click on the options right there, and immediately we will see the report about Blake. And you see that we have lots of data that are presented into graphs, and of course, gamification stats, which we always encourage you to use. And the green button, export in Excel, and then schedule. And of course, we can get to the courses that that user has, and we can also filter here. For example, if I click on the score, I can see the ones that perform best to least, or I can see reports about the test they have performed, the Scorms, the surveys, all of those options, and definitely the certifications. So here you see the certifications of the user. You can preview, you can download, and you can delete them, but please don't do that. And then, of course, you can see more stats about gamification. So that is the very first type of report, the user report, where you can identify the highest performance, maybe the ones that need help, and overall get an one-on-one report about all of your users. But of course, it's about courses, Mary, right?
Yes, and this is the second type of report we would like to show you. Let me just share the screen a moment, and here it is. So under user reports, click on course reports, and as an admin that logs into the main site, you can see all the courses that were ever created in TalentLMS. If they're not deleted, they're here. So you can see, again, all the courses organized into different categories. You can see how many assigned learners there are and how many of them have already completed the course. So let's click on a course, because now I would like to show you what you can get when you export the report. So instead of viewing this online, I'm going to open this Excel report and show you on screen what you get. Just a moment. The Excel open on the second screen I have right here. Let me just maximize that. I hope you can see better now. So here we see the overview of our course report, the domain that it came from, which is the course, how many assigned learners there are. And as you can see, there are more tabs. So here we're looking at the users that are assigned to this course, along with some information about them, their status. That's the most important thing that you can get on the course report. Of course, if they have completed the training or not, when, the average score. So if you're using tests and assignments, even Scorm files, the average score will be reflected here. And if there is a certificate, if you have connected a certificate and the end of the course, people will be able to download this. And you can also do that as an administrator. You see this column, you can click actually on this link and this will open and direct you to the PDF file, the certificate of that user. So if you wish, you can keep this on your desktop, which is a very convenient way. I heard a lot of questions in the past. Is there any easy way to share certificates with people outside of the organization? Don't forget that since you can export this report, you also have the option to schedule. So with this option, when there is the schedule button, you can send it to people even outside of your organization, and they will also get the certificate. So if they wish, they can keep this on their desktop.
So you can see how convenient that scheduling button is. So that way you will be able to also get the report and, like Mary said before, also get a report with data that you can share right away from that email as well. Let's talk about another type of report though, and that is coming up with one of the most popular features that somebody can use in TalentLMS. And of course, we're talking about branch reports. So let me share my screen once more right there. And let's see how you can track the completion rate and the progress of people in branches. Branches is the feature that will allow you to create individual training environments that will have their own users, their own learners, admins, instructors, courses, and of course, their own results. And if your plan supports branches, it's always a good way to use them if you want to deliver training to internal versus external versus partners, customers, or any other audience that you would like to keep separate. So, of course, as an admin here, you can definitely see reports about branches. On the right side, if we just go to branch reports, you have the option to see, again, quick statistics about the performance of people overall in your branches. And then you can always go and see your branches that you have. For example, my highest performing branch here is the onboarding one. And I can see that very quickly from the completion rate column. Click on the options. And there you have, again, they're very familiar by now of you, right? You have seen it before, you'll see it again. And that is the quick overview that we can choose based on date. And then again, the green button. If we go to the users, this is where we can see the users of that specific branch. And of course, you can expand your page right there. And then you can see more people going down. And you can get the courses. And this is where you can see, again, by expanding all of the courses of the branch as well, the courses that have assigned learners and the amount of them, and the courses that have learners who have completed that, and again, the related statistics. It's always a good idea to think about using branch reports from an admin perspective, so that way at a glance you can see what's happening, how many users have completed your courses. But also, we rely heavily on groups here. Groups is the feature that would allow you to distribute a lot of courses to a lot of users just with a few steps at the same time. So even if you don't use branches, even if your account is not using branches right now, definitely groups would be on your feature list. So groups can have their own reports as well. And if we get there, again, we will be able to see something that's, again, you will get a very good overview of. So we have the amount of groups, users, courses completed in progress. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to look at my completion rate column, and my most popular is compliance. Who doesn't love compliance training, right? And here you can see again the overview, and of course, the users that belong into the group, the courses that belong again into the group with their assorted statistics of assigned and completed learners. So groups and branches are great features that will allow you to share the courses with users. But talking about courses, one of the most interactive way of really working with content is Scorm. So I'm going to leave this to Mary to tell us how we can track the completion and the progress of users who use Scorm content in the courses.
Indeed, we thought that the admin should have access to everything, even for content that you have uploaded in your courses. So if you're using Scorm files, you will find right here on the right side of the screen a tab dedicated to Scorm reports. If you're not using Scorm and you're not sure what is a Scorm file, well, you must have seen this somewhere. First of all, you need to have your own authoring tool to build a Scorm file, which at the end you get a very interactive type of file where the learners maybe can click on different objects, move things around, answer questions on the spot, and it's all in the same zip file. So you need to have your own authoring tool, export your Scorm file in 1.2 version. This is what we are compatible with, and then upload it in TalentLMS. Also, just to mention here, since you're designing the Scorm files alone, also what we will show you on reports really depends on your design. There are Scorm files that only capture the information if the learner has passed or failed that file, or the time spent in that unit. But there are also other Scorm files that are designed to also capture the actual question and answer of that learner. So let me show you a Scorm report like this one using the right language. Here you can see the two users that try to execute the Scorm file, their score, the time spent in that unit, and under options, when you click this magnifying glass, you will be able to access more information. This view can be different from Scorm file to Scorm file. So it really depends again on your design. Here we can also see the correct answers, the wrong answers. So the file itself captures this information. So the system can show that here. All Scorm reports will be available here for you if you want to print them, again, export or schedule. And besides Scorm reports, since we're talking about content that you have uploaded in your course, we have separate tabs for test reports, built-in features of TalentLMS that allows you to assess the knowledge of your users, surveys if you want to collect feedback. So here we don't care about the score, we just collect feedback from learners, and assignment reports. If you want, the learners can upload a file as an answer, even record their screen or themselves, and you can check their knowledge this way. Let me show you a test report. So we're moving to test reports, and here you can see again all the tests and from which course they come. And let's click on this one, for example. Advertising test. You can see all the users that completed that test, their results, their score, the time spent in that test, which is very nice because you can tell if the learner was focusing here or they tried sometimes to open different tabs and look up for the answer. You will understand this if you spend too much time in that test. And under options, once again, you can click on that and you can find the question and the answers and what the learner has selected. Again, you can print those results. And let me also show you in this part the analysis tab. Why you should check the analysis tab. Here you can see how the answers are distributed. And for example, for this question, if you notice, out of the 23 times answered, only 15 times was answered correctly. So for this question, some people had a problem. Maybe the question was not clear, or maybe I haven't provided enough information and content so they can pick the right answer. So that's a nice way to check whether you need to update your own content. And before I leave this part, let me also just go back for a moment and download this report, because once again, I would like to show you what you get when you open the Excel file. So I'm going to bring this again to the right screen, and I'm sure you can see that now. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit, and you can find some generic information. So the analysis tab is right here and how the answers were distributed. And in the details, here it is, you can see exactly if the learner has answered correctly to the questions. And you can also view the submission. So you can actually preview the test and the answers of the learner, which is again very convenient because you don't need to give access to admins, actually to managers that should they just need to check these reports. You don't need to create users on your portal just for accessing reports. If you wish, you can just schedule the reports to them, and as you can see, they get a lot of information, and you don't need to create an account for them.
And you can see how much data you can get, especially in reports that are related to the course content. So feel free to experiment when you create your courses to Just check out the results. Even if you're just getting started with Talent LMS, create a few test users, complete the courses like them, and there you can see the wealth of data that you get through the reports. But talking about courses, let me show you another type of report, and that is about blended learning. And I know what you might be thinking, blended learning is not always something that you might do in every course, but it's something that we highly, highly recommend in order to boost engagement of the learners with your content. So include live sessions in your courses and see the results of those reports as well. Let me share my screen so that way we can see together how we can track the participation of users into the live sessions, into the blended learning part of your course. And again, I'm looking at my dashboard, right? As an admin, go a little bit further down and let's click on ILT reports. ILT stands for instructor-led training. And you see here that we have lots of different statistics at the top. That's the amount of ILTs, the amount of registrations, the amount of people that have passed, and the average grade. And we can see the last time that there was activity right here. But if you want to sort again the results of the report from ascending to descending or vice versa, I'm going to do it by the past. So I'm going to click on past and I can see my most past sessions. And starting from 19, I'm going to go down. Let's choose one. Let's choose one that is not very predicted. Let's not choose one that has 100% of average grade. I'm going to look for one that has 70. So we can identify who did well and who might need a little bit more help. Click on reports. And what you see right away is that we have the name of the units. So that is the live training units within the ILT overview course. So you have that at the front, the quick view for the amount of registration and the amount of passed. And before even we get to the data, you see on the right side here, we have a pie chart where we can quickly identify the ones that didn't pass and the ones that have passed. And of course, we have the users, the grade date, the status, the grade. And if you use custom fields, absolutely, you can have the location right there. And if your ILT has more than one sessions within, of course, you can go to the sessions and then you can see the sessions that you have scheduled within that specific ILT unit. Lots of good information here. Make sure to use blended learning. Learners love it. And of course, you can see results here as well. But blended learning is not the only way to customize your courses. You can customize your reports as well, and you can really do it by choosing yourself what type of data you want to display. So I'm going to pass the mic again to Mary to tell us all about custom reports and how to use them.
And this will become personal because it's my favorite type of report. Here it is. You will see custom reports at the bottom of the screen, and you can access it if you are on a plus and upwards plan. So if you cannot, you will need to upgrade to a subscription that supports custom reports. And here you can create personalized reports. So we have shown you already all the types of reports you can download. If something doesn't work for you, probably you will download the Excel report and try to make some adjustments. But here you can design from scratch the report that you need. And let's add together a new report, okay? First of all, we need to give a name to this report. So you won't have to do this over and over again. We will save this report on a list so you can access it anytime. And then you need to decide what type of report and what kind of information do you need. This can be a report about users, so we can bring information more about their details, like the first name, last name, email address, and more generic information like if they have some courses assigned and how many of them are completed. Or you can focus on their learning progress, and you can see the learners, the users, and all the courses they have been assigned to. I'm going to create one of each, so I will start with the users report. And then you can decide what rules you need to use. So basically, we're going to set the criteria and all the details that we want the learners to have in order to appear on this report. Sorry, let me rephrase that. So I'm going to pick from all the users that I have who's going to appear on this report, okay? And as the report name already gives that away, I'm gonna find out all the active learners. So let's see. There are different rules, so let's search for users that are active, okay? And I don't want everybody, I just want learners. So I'm gonna search per type as well. So whoever has the learner type and is currently active will appear in this report. You can add up to 5 different rules, so you can be very specific. We're going to narrow down the results just to the audience that you want to have on this report. And now we can decide what's going to be on that report. Of course, typically the first column is their name, so let's keep that. Maybe we don't need their email address right here, so you can remove this column, especially if you're planning to send this report to someone outside of your organization. They don't need to have access to this kind of data. I'm gonna also remove user type because I already know they're gonna be learners. And if you wish, you can add extra columns. So here you can find all the possible columns. Even if you're using custom user fields, you can use this on reports. So let's have a look. Sorry. And here it is. This is our custom report with the information that we want to see, with the extra columns I've added on the report. Like anything else, this can be exported and scheduled. I'm gonna need some water in a little while. And this is a report we created together. You can stop there. We just created a personalized report, or you can go a step further and perform a mass action to the results. What does this mean? So usually you run a report for a reason. Why we want to have a list of all the active learners. Maybe it's time for you to deactivate them. So if you choose to do this action, this will affect only the people of that list. You can also add them to a group or add them to a new course or even reset their progress. Whatever you choose to do, this will appear and it will actually apply just to the learners of that list. And as I promised, I'm going to edit this report. So I'm going to show you the difference. What if I choose learning progress now? So with the learning progress, we're going to have information about the courses they have been assigned to. And it's going to be either all the courses they have ever been assigned to, or you can be, again, very specific and decide which courses will appear. So I want for information for this course. Do we have active learners that are assigned to this course? And as you can see, the output has changed. You will see the name of the course and their status. Let's save that. And here it is, the learners assigned to this course only, and this is their status. I have already checked a little bit the Q&A. There were questions like, can we schedule reports more than once a week? With custom reports, you have the option to clone the report. So if you wish, you can clone it 5 times and schedule for 1 day of every week. So you will have 5 reports for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. And you will schedule 5 different reports, 1 for every day. And these are custom reports.
And you can see how much you can do with custom reports and how much you can really just go ahead and customize the data. But let me just share with you a few tips while Mary's taking a breath. So I'm going to share with you just a few tips in case you want to use reports, not just as a way to track the data, but also as a way to listen to what your learners will say. So for example, tip number 1, not everybody really knows about your training. I know it sounds very strange saying that since you are actually creating a portal for that. But if you see lower participation of users in the courses, or if you don't see users really getting on the course catalog and taking the courses as they go, this is something that's maybe you might need to revise when it comes to your communication strategy. So you can always just run an internal PR campaign. You can even just send a communication that could be in your company channels, if you have any communication channels. But also something that might be very interesting is the fact that you can always send a message from TalentLMS to learners, so that way they will be able to actually go ahead and see that content not only within TalentLMS, but also in their email address. So if you look at your portal and you want to go and send them a message, top right message, and you will be able to communicate to the users from Talent, but they will also receive that on their email address. So that's something that you can do from the platform, but also reach to people outside the platform. And the second is the contents. I know that content is something that sometimes might be possibly a little bit repetitive, and especially if you use the same format like PowerPoints, videos, Scorm, but also try to section that. So you can create courses in different sections so people will be able to see the structure of the course or break down your content in shorter courses as well. So that way people will be able to get the pleasure and the motivation of actually completing a course and then moving on to the next one. So instead of having a very long course, definitely try breaking it down in order to be able to just get to more completions, more courses, and more exploration of the catalog. Mary, I'm going to leave the third one to you.
That is so true. Thank you, Theo. Had my water. And last but not least, if nothing of those things work, if you notice your reports, there's low participation, low scores, and you have done everything, just talk to your people. There are ways to communicate with them. You can also have surveys at the end of each course, so you can ask if they like the course, what you can do better. You can also create discussions, which is a feature that you can access as an instructor, and you can create places that looks like forums so people can talk to each other, change ideas, and you can get valuable feedback for your content. So you can improve your content and deliver an awesome learning experience.
And you can see how reports can really just act as a way of communication to your learners and from your learners as well. But let me show you another feature. And now we get into my own personal favorites, which is infographics. Let me share my screen and let's talk about it a little bit more. So infographics is always located on the top of the report. So if we click on infographics right now, you will see that it is a very customizable way to display the data, presentation ready, full of colors, full of graphics. If I'm just going to scroll down, you will really see what I mean. And you have the option to present the infographics within your meetings and consolidate data in a way that is done automatically from TalentLMS, presentation ready, without you having to dig into the Excel pie charts or tables, or really just do the work yourself. Let's create one together and you'll see how easy it is, because we're going to do it right now live. Click on the three dots and let's go to create a new infographic. I'm going to call it overview. And here you can choose what you will be referencing, what the data will be. It will be your entire system. In other words, all of your data in your account since the very first day that you opened it, or it can be specified to a branch or specified to a group if this is what you're looking for. I'm going to go with the system, and then let's talk about art. Let's talk about colors. What color corresponds to your branding? I'm going to go with the first one because blue is our color, but always you have the option to customize the artwork as well. I'm going to go again for arts, and I love this type of options where it's not only about numbers, it's also about how the way it looks. And then in the reference period, you can choose what will be your threshold. Is it going to be all, again, from the very first day of your portal, or it's going to be a specific week, specific month, year, or period of time? And talking about specifics here, we're talking about the current year, the current month, the current week. Let's say all, and then create the infographic. And the moment that this is created, I love those colors, you will see that you have the option to edit the sections. So let's go with the insights. You might be wondering what exactly participation is, what exactly engagement is. Although it sounds quite reasonable, you can always hover and you can see the explanation that we give at the pop-out box underneath. So now for engagement, we're talking about the active learners that have completed at least one course. If you want more info, click on more and then you will see. But going down to the users, let's say I'm going to go to edit the section. I want to focus on my learners. So I'm going to get rid of the admins, sorry, admins, and maybe of the instructors as well. And I'm just going to keep the users and learners. Maybe I don't want to have the title as well here. So update. So you can see how very easy it is to customize those infographics. And then of course you can lock your settings. You see at the bottom right, the edit button. And what you get is a set of data that really populates as we go. And you see the graphs there, you see the pie chart, you see the gamification stats. And it's not only that. Let's go on top again. And what if you would like to compare this period of time with a different one? You don't have to consolidate two different ones. Just go to compare with. And from there, you can choose last week, last month, last year. And you can see here that automatically TalentLMS will calculate for you. That's my favorite feature because I'm not good at math, but TalentLMS will calculate here exactly the amount of increase or if you had decrease. How do I present it? Of course, I can go to a meeting, log in into my portal, share my screen, but also you can click on the three dots and then you can export. And when you export, you get that infographic in an image. You can see that at the bottom of my screen. And let's open it and let me bring it forward to this view. Just make it larger so we can all explore. And here it is. So if I walk in a meeting and I'm going to show you this, nobody will know that this is something that took me 10 minutes to make instead of just spending a week's projects on that data depiction. So use it, create your infographics and use them in your presentations exactly as you need. And another feature, and that is a feature that we call the people's feature, because that is something that you have asked and that is something that you have suggested to us as a need to see the amount of users, the amount of courses, and the completion at the same time. That is a training metrics, and the training metrics is your feature to just identify what's happening on your account as we speak. You see the training metrics here, and we have the users on the left, and you can always flick the pages. We have the courses on top, and everything is color coordinated. So if a box is white, that indicates that the user is not part of the course. So Alexander here doesn't have the performing CPR course, not yet. If it's blue, it indicates that the person has the course, but has not started actually doing the training. And if it's orange, you can tell that this is indicating progress. Or if it's green, color of success, that means that that is a successfully completed course. If it's red, tough luck, that user has not passed the course. You see here that we can see right away the amount of completion or the grade, but that is also down to your options. If you go to the options, you can have all of them to show, or maybe you can just untick them and then you will just see the indications with the colors, but not have the percentage revealed right away. Always up to you. And you also have additional filtering options such as the status, the branches, the groups. So if I just want, for example, to have people in my marketing group, I can click and then I can see those results. If that's cool, wait till you see from Mary the matrix for the course units.
Yes, TalentLMS lets you track the course progress within your organization at the unit level as well. So to access this type of report, you need to go to course reports, click on a course. I'm gonna go with this one this time. And here, just move around the tabs, and here you will find unit matrix report. And you can see individual learners, how they have performed for a specific course in those units. So you can see if they have completed the units, if they're still in progress, or if they have failed a unit, just with one quick view at the unit matrix report of a specific course.
And one very, very final report. It's not exactly a report, it's more like a bonus feature. So let me share my screen one last time, and then we'll go to your questions. That is the timeline. The timeline is a collection of all of the data that have occurred into your account, all of the actions that have occurred in your account. Think about it like a diary that has a lot of pages and tracks every single action. For example, you see here that we have about 4,000, a little bit above 4,000 pages, and that is only for the range of dates that I have here. If I eliminate all of my filters on top, of course, you expect to have thousands and thousands of pages. That's cool because that will allow you to filter all of those pages based on dates, based on events. For example, would you like to know when an instructor has created a course? If so, I'm going to go to course, just type there, and then you will select course creation. So you see, our team is quite active. It's myself, Mary, Irini. So we all create courses. And if you want to do something different, for example, if you would like to see who has graded an assignment, for example, you can just do the same again. And you can see again, Mary has been working a lot. So the timeline is the report that is primarily focused on admins, instructors, and of course learners. But since the entire reporting system of Talent LMS is focused only on the learners, the timeline is what will help you to track how the instructors and fellow admins actually engage with the account. It's all good, especially if somebody's trying to just remember a detail, or for example, somebody might tell you that, oh, my assignment has not been graded, and then you can always double check if indeed it's something that we missed or it's something that happens, and then remind them. I know that there's a lot of questions. I can see that Q&A button flashing here. So Mary, if you're ready, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Great. Yes, I'm going to share my screen and I will be 100% ready for your questions. So let's start with Morgan's question. How do I access past training results for a course that is reassigned after the certificate expires? For example, I would like to access the training data for a course in 2021 for a course that is reassigned in 2022. Morgan, first of all, let me just explain to the rest of you, if you're not using this feature yet and you're using TalentLMS for compliance training, you will be very excited because when you create a course, you have the option to add a certificate. And let's say that the certificate lasts for a year and you wish after the certificate expires to reassign the training to the user. So in 2021, we had learners completing that course. They got the certificate. Now it's 2022. The certificate expires and they will be reset and reassigned to the course. With that said, Morgan, I have to say that the data of 2021 will be lost because basically they're overridden with the new data of 2022. So just before the certificate expires, it would be better to download the reports that you have in order to save it somewhere outside of TalentLMS, since the course will be reset and the course again will be reassigned to the user. So they have to start all over again. But don't worry, in the timeline, you never lose this information. So in the timeline that Theo showed you now, you will be able to view when the learner has completed the course, use the right event filters. If you want, find a specific user, and you will see that piece of information that the course was completed in 2021 and 2022. I know that for a lot of companies, this is enough when they have to show these records to the government, for example. So you can always access this kind of data from the timeline as well. Let's see, another question coming from Megan. How do you see the people who never logged in? Well, sometimes you don't need reports for that. A very easy way to see all the users is from the users list. So here you also have this columns. You can see when the users were registered and if they have logged in. So we can see the last login, and if they have never logged in, they will appear like this. So you can also download this report. It's not a report, a list as a CSV file, and use that as a report. This is one way. Another way, if you're interested for a specific period of time, if you want to see users that have not logged in for a specific period of time, would be with custom reports. If your subscription supports that, you can add a report and search for users that have not logged in for a period of time, either the last X days or for a specific period of time, so you can be more specific. But your question was never, so I would personally go from the users list. It's much easier. Another question from Evelyn. This is very useful. Thank you. How should Scorm files be designed to be able to get information you just showed? Honestly, Evelyn, there are so many authoring tools. I have some personal experience with one, but it really depends on what tool you're using. You just need to click the right checkboxes at the end. It would be better to ask the support team of your authoring tool. If you want to capture questions, answers, time spent, you need to ask the support of the tool you're using, and then all this information will be transferred anyway in TalentLMS. TalentLMS will read your file and display information according to the design of your file. I have another question from Dalen. Do you have examples of XAPI reports? I think you're referring to the TinCan files, is that right? For this, you need to go to the timeline. So I'm gonna clear out any date. So I'm not sure if I have any tin can file, but if you search for TC, tin can file, you can see the activity, the attempts, if they answered something. So we capture information of XAPI files, but as activities in the timeline. The only type of report that for this kind of interactive files would will appear here if it was a Scorm file, but if you're using tin can files, they will appear on the timeline, not on the Scorm reports. And this is a question from Keith. Does the Scorm reports on how a user answered the question work with Scorm 1.2 as well as with tin can? As you saw, Keith, perhaps this is very personal. I prefer Scorm files because it's easier for me to read the data in this kind of format. So if the file has been designed to capture the question and the answer of the learner, you will have it right here. So you can click on the Scorm report and view this information here. There are other people that prefer to read these things from the timeline, so it's a personal thing. I would go with Scorm reports. I feel it's more clear for me when I want to track the progress of my users. I hope, Keith, it helps. So let's see. We have a question from Michael Henry. Hi there. My question is about the link in the report that goes to the test results, the submission, right? Okay. Do they need to be an instructor for the course to see the test results from a schedule report? No, and that's the good thing. When you schedule and report, a test report, anything, when you schedule that to a specific email address, they will have an Excel report like the ones that I showed you. And there are going to be also the columns with the show submission link. And they don't have to be logged in into the system to view those results. So that's why it's up to you to who you send the report, but it can be anyone. They don't need to be in the system. They don't have to be users here. Don't worry, you send a report to anyone and they will access exactly the file that you download. So be careful with who you serve the report, but they will get everything that you need. So I hope that this is clear, Michael. Another question from Alisa. So here, let the system decide means all courses. I understand, Alisa, you're talking about custom reports, all right? Let me show you that. So when I was viewing this report and adding that, when we picked the learning progress, we want to find information about the progress of the users in all the courses they have. If you leave this, let the system decide, yes, it will show all the courses they have been assigned to. So maybe you will see even the learner repeating on the list because they are assigned to 5 different courses, and it will show the progress to all of those courses. Otherwise, you can be more specific and you can pick specific courses from a list, courses that belong to a group, or courses that belong to a branch. So I hope, Alisa, this helps. Okay, I have an issue with this format, 2 hours, 30 minutes, 22 seconds. If I want to check the total duration of all the courses in Excel file, I have to manually change the format. I've been there, Kushik. This is a question from Kushik. So let me show you. If you have access to custom reports, here you will find this tab, seconds. That's very convenient because what you just said, 2 hours, 30 minutes, 22 seconds, we will create this column and it's all going to be in seconds. So when you export the Excel file, it's much easier to do the math there because it's going to be just seconds. Again, the rules, what you want to get really depends on what you have selected here, but you can have a list of all the users, leave this let the system decide. So you basically have a report for all the users, all the courses they have been assigned to with the column seconds. So it's easier for you to edit afterwards. So I hope this helps. Let's see. Another question from Melanie. If we schedule test results to go out by email, do they include responses from all time in the system, including inactive learners? That's right, Melanie. We don't have information for users that are not in the system anymore. So if you delete a user or a course, we don't have this kind of report anymore. So anyway, we can't show, download, or schedule this type of report. But yes, inactive users and inactive courses will appear on the reports. I'm sorry. Theo, can you pick just one question so I can drink again some water?
Yes, yes. So let me pick a question that comes from Rajesh. Rajesh is asking, can I change the way that the default email that gets sent with the scheduling can be customized, or can I do any HTML there? Let me show you Rajesh. So I'm going to share my screen here. So I'm going to take over from Mary for a very quick moment. And yes, you can customize the email that the reports get sent with. And that's going to be under the events engine. And from there, you see it's not a notification, but next to notifications, you see that there is a little arrow there. Click on it and go to customize system notifications. So I'm going to click one, and there you can see, of course, other type of system emails to customize. But what we're looking at is the export reports in Excel. So yes, you can customize it. You might want to check if you would like to experiment with some bold letters, some underline, all done with HTML. But again, what I would suggest here is to keep it simple, because what you want to focus on is the data. You want to focus on the link that people will receive and just the report name, where it was sent from, the creation dates, and so on. Of course, you can remove if you want the creation date or anything else, but keep it simple. But of course, you can customize it if this is something that you would like to do. Final one, Mary or me? Who do you think?
I'm good. I'm good. Let's continue. Thank you, guys. And this is a question from Mason. Is it possible to edit how some of the numbers are calculated? For example, the participation and engagement rate. So, Mason, you must be referring to the infographics. I'm afraid this is not possible because it's an algorithm we have behind this, and it's very specific. So we cannot add this per portal. If you think that what we're using is not right and maybe we should consider that, just let us know. I will pass it on to the developers team. But right now, I've seen this question too from another customer as well. Let me show you just quickly the relative article that shows how some things on the infographic are calculated. So, so let's see. I think this is the one. And I'm going to this article. And at the bottom, you can see some of how we some of the things that how we calculate them. This is the algorithm behind the less commute time. We think that it takes like half hour to go to work, and how much dollars you spend for a training. So it's very specific, and I'm afraid it's not possible to change this per portal. If you have other ideas, please share it with us.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mary, for answering the questions, and thank you for powering through. I know winter has started coming around here, most likely fall, but we can always, just lose our voice a little bit. So thank you for powering through. And let me just share my slides now a little bit more, because we have lots of things that we would like to share with you. First of all, our email address. Our inbox is open. You're welcome to send us an email for any question you have, any inquiry. Our email address is trainingteam@talentlms.com. And we would really love to hear from you and answer your questions, help with anything that you would like in your portal. And of course, don't forget that you can always just drop us an email and have suggestions about Talent LMS or about what features you might have ideas for. This is how we made the training metrics, so you can always inspire us at any given point. And also, we would have your feedback as well in a survey. Would love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about the webinars. What would you like to see in our future sessions? And of course, you can do that through the survey link that we have in the chat right now. It takes less than a minute, and it would really help us create webinars that you would like to watch. And talking about webinars, where can you find more webinars? Well, we have Talent LMS Academy. This is the website that we curate with content that is brought to you by different types of webinars. There, you can find our past webinars where you can see how you can get to know Talent LMS, how you can work as instructors. You can see this one as well, the past recordings too. And you will also be able to participate in our new series of webinars, which is called Ask Us Anything. And this is where you can really have a live Q&A webinar, quick one, 30 minutes with a very quick topic presentation at the beginning. So that way we engage with you and answer your questions live. And join the talentlms.com/webinars website to see what's coming next. I'm going to give you a spoiler here. So we have Ask Us Anything coming about groups. Ask Us Anything coming about reports. We have more feature webinars about how to engage your learners or how to organize your portal. So stay with us, join our Talent LMS Academy, and you will see our past and our future webinars. Thank you very much, everybody in the chat. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Irini. And of course, thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience and thank you for helping me today.
So we're going to go grab a tea then, and we wish to see you next time in our upcoming webinars. Take care and happy training.
Bye bye, everybody.